We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. That's Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to This is Group Therapy. We've not done group therapy in a very long time, largely because I have been very, very lethargic. The Mavericks haven't been fun, and so much not fun that I've not wanted to do a secondary live show. But you know what? It's time. The Dallas Mavericks fell to the Minnesota Timberwolves by 1 point. And that sucks. So we're going to talk about that along with anything else that's happened over the last month since I've done one of these shows. For anybody who has no idea what I'm talking about, if you're here listening to the YouTube channel, I post in the comment a StreamYard link, which you can click from your phone, click from your computer, do whatever you want. It's really easy to join. You don't have to show your face, but I would like it. And we can talk a little basketball until people are bored. Thank goodness we already have one of our contributors waiting and I don't have to talk to myself forever. We have Ash waiting in the comments, waiting to come up, and anybody else that joins in the meantime, we'll see how it goes. So just go ahead and click that link. Head to a waiting room. We can talk a little basketball. Ash, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Kirk. Good to finally meet you.
Thank you so much for joining. I always appreciate it when people join this thing because I can talk to myself. I don't want to.
Yeah, it was a heartbreaker at the end there, but in the end, I felt like the Mavs played a pretty solid game. I really can't complain.
In a game where you lose by 1 point, you can just nitpick all sorts of stuff. I felt pretty disappointed by the defensive focus in the second quarter, where I felt like that was when things started to go awry. But the fact that they kept coming back was pretty nice to see. Josh and I talked about it a little bit. I against teams that are like you're kind of above 500 teams, the Mavericks need to they just have to get outlier performances from some of their role players. Tonight I thought guys played okay. Spencer played pretty bad again, but again, Spencer shouldn't be playing 32 minutes. So I have a hard time staying mad at him. Whose performances did you like tonight?
I thought PJ was pretty decent. Kyrie, Gafford was as expected. Omax was decent. Nobody. I mean, it's just weird having so many guys out. Nobody else really stuck out that much.
Yeah, I was pleased to see Omax get the start and get minutes. 25 minutes. He scored 4 points on 7 shots, which made me laugh a little bit. But at the same time, I like his sort of reckless energy in a game where the Mavericks didn't have a lot. Like they sort of had every reason to lay down and die with how many guys were on the injury report. And I thought he gave them a pretty good spark to start the game, which was helpful.
You know, I really liked that last three-pointer at the end of the game. I know that it was too little, too late, but it was kind of like Kyrie making a statement that he's such an assassin in the fourth quarter.
Man, and he missed. I bet he wants some of his shots back. So he ended up
Oh yeah,
just 4 of 11. I mean, he shot, what is that? It's like 37%. But he had some good looks just not go down. It was sort of, that was not like disappointing, because when a guy scores 36 points in 38 minutes, you're pretty pleased with it. But man, if it felt like shots that he normally just buries in a big moment.
yeah,
Just it didn't go. Stunk.
it's true. His efficiency's back at least, because the prior game he wasn't even as efficient as he usually is. But at least I'm hoping his back problems are getting better now. I don't know.
It always worries me. You know, there was somebody in the chat earlier who was sort of wondering if he got hurt this game with a few of the tumbles that he took. I would just gamble in saying that if he was hurt, he would not have kept playing, because disc and sort of like nerve related pain is pretty fucking unbearable. It's the sort of thing that affects the way you like move. So I feel confident that he's okay. They're not going to put him in a dangerous position if he can't play.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got. But thanks for doing this.
Oh yeah, I need to start doing it again. Like that's how I, the regular shows. Appreciate his first time joining. When there's like when I do them regularly, people start thinking about stuff that they want to ask me, which then makes the show a little more interactive. And that's on me just for not doing it. But I'm grateful you got us started.
All right, thanks for having me.
Have a good one. Yeah. So I can also take some questions from the chat. This is a good one that I actually enjoyed from Javier in the chat. He asks, you don't have any deadline hot takes? Well, the deadline's not for, when is the NBA trade deadline? Let's see here. NBA trade deadline 2025. That would be on Thursday, February 6th. So we're coming out. We're about 2 weeks away. I'm going to get closer, and that will help. I think if I sort of think, I don't know why, I have nothing to go with for here. I think the Mavericks make a run at Vujicic. I don't know why. I that's not a thing that is backed by anything. I've not talked to anyone. I've not asked any questions. I just sort of look at like the Mavericks' interesting offensive woes at the wrong time. And this is before I knew Lively was hurt. So I just, maybe that one's not going to happen now. So Vujicic sort of exists. Drew asks in the chat, will Beal waive his no trade clause? His agent put out a fairly stern statement today that said in no way is that happening, at least right now, which was something else. See if we have any other questions in the chat, because otherwise this might just be a very short episode, which is fine. Because this is my fault for not advertising this more earlier. Drew wanted me to flesh out the conspiracy. Which conspiracy do we think did we mean here? A little curious. Drew asked, how is Jimmy getting moved? Jimmy, in my uninformed opinion, I don't think Jimmy's getting moved. I think Pat Riley helped create the player empowerment era by clearing all the space and pulling LeBron to Miami. And I think he might sort of end the conspiracy, or I'm sorry, end the player empowerment era, because Butler got suspended for 2 more games today. He missed another team flight and was going to push the Heat to fly him out on a private jet. And they said no, which is pretty ridiculous. All right. We got anything else down here that's sort of worth commenting on? Yeah, I don't really know. Matt, like trade stuff is never my deal. Brian Roby asks, what do you do with the 2025 first if Lively is only out a month as opposed to 2 to 3? They're given that the trade deadline is in 2 weeks, they're going to have to really, really know to make that choice. Don't you think? It would worry me, not worry me, but this is a pretty good draft. And if the Mavericks were to draft, in the 18-19 range and, make the playoffs as like a 10, 7, 8, 9, 10 seed and somehow, do something interesting in the first round, I would want them to have that pick. I think they have to, the kind of burgeoning consensus, I think, with relation to the draft pick is that the Mavericks will need to figure out a way to replace Gafford. So I just hope that, I just hope that there's something there. TGK Chalupa says, no joke, should the Mavericks go for Bruce Brown? I would be opposed. I don't know what you give up for him. So that's kind of the problem that I have always had with trade stuff. You have to give to get, right? And with the Mavericks right now only having Gafford, if you create one problem and solve another with a lot of the guys that you would want to sort of trade for. Jonathan says, do the Mavericks need an actual backup point guard? I don't understand Spencer Dinwiddie, Jonathan. We had a stretch of games this year where he was diming. He was making beautiful passes and running an offense. And then Luka gets hurt and he just stops. He becomes like, Luka Doncic through a fax machine 300 times. John T asks about Ben Simmons buyout. Would he help? I'm anti, but that's because I don't like guys with bad attitudes. I have enough. I know enough from Philadelphia guys to make me think he is much more interested in looking cool than he is playing basketball. So it's just not really something for me. Chosen One asks, I would trade Clay. I'm sorry if it hurts you free agency wise. He has to go. Well, so he's on the books officially this year, next year, and then I think that third year is a player option. I don't think they move him this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they ever came to an agreement. Like they're going to treat a future Hall of Famer like him with a lot of respect. Is where it goes. Bruce Brown is awesome. I have no idea why he's wasting away up north. He's just been moved around a couple of times, so that's a tough one. Drew asks, how many calls are the Chiefs going to get this game? Drew, I will link you to all the various articles and statistics showing you that the Chiefs don't actually get that many calls and that everybody is a whiny baby. That said, I just hope for a good game on Sunday because the Bills are really, 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 really good. Okay, well, we got kind of a quiet night. That's all right. Nobody really wants to talk. I don't blame you. I thought we would have some more thoughts and questions related to anything sort of lively adjacent or injury adjacent. But, really, there's just not a ton to talk about. We sort of know who these Mavs are. We know how bleak it's going to get, I think, at least intellectually. But then it's figuring out what to do with staring at the future in a given way. So they go Oklahoma, Boston, Washington, New Orleans, Detroit, Cleveland, Philly, Boston, Houston, Sacramento, Golden State, Miami, up until All-Star. That stinks, man. Do we have any picks? Yes, we do have picks. They have their 2025 first, which excuse me, they I think are allowed to move. Not entirely sure because it's like they own it right now and they don't. Their future things are pretty well established, but I don't really pay too much attention to it just because it can make you a little bit crazy. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, guys. This has been fun. We'll do it again and hanging out probably tomorrow night too, because it should be the Thunder game provokes passion. So if you have questions or thoughts, come prepared to join the show and chat a little bit. Shout out to Ash for actually getting things going. Maybe we'll get Mr. Green back from Australia, but I bet he is tired of watching these teams as well. Everybody be good. Enjoy your Thursday. We will talk soon. Go Mavs.